This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the CEO of Angold Resources, Mr. Adrian Rothwell. Adrian, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Dorado. Thanks for having me on the show.
Congrats on the listing. Thank you for coming on. Happy New Year. This is obviously a busy time for the company. You've been busy behind the scenes. And so I know that drilling has commenced at Dorado, and we'll talk about Dorado here in a little bit. But before we get to that, I would love for you to provide just a brief overview of your background, and then we can get right into the assets and the structure and the team.
Yeah, sure. Well, look, I joined Angold in the late summer, early fall of last year. So this was the wheels were in motion on Angold with the assets and the like. Previous to that, I guess I've been in the sector for 25 years, and starting on the CPA by training. So dangerous to asking questions that are too technical. But, I've been involved in companies of all sizes, most CFO of a bunch in the mid-2000s. And more recently, I was the director of strategy at Gold Corp before it until the end of 2015. And I started a company called Core Mining with some assets, one asset out of Gold Corp and a number. It's got a portfolio of assets now, which is very similar to Angold actually, and that's why I like Angold's story. So I've had a couple of goes at the trough, I guess you could say.
Let's get right into the share structure. I like to start there usually. I know that you have a large portion of I think it's approximately 84 million shares outstanding, and then fully diluted, I believe it's about 89.2. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's right. So excuse me, we've got 84 million shares outstanding after raising our sub-receipt financing of $8 million, which is what we have now as our available cash. Approximately 20 million of those are, and that raise, by the way, was at 40 cents, and that's around 20 million shares. So they are really the only free trading stock in the company, is that 40-cent sub-receipt round. A lot of the balance of that stock, which is insiders, advisors, there was some seed capital in there for getting the company started, buying the projects. Of course, there's shares gone to the vendors of the projects, and they've re-upped in every single financing we've had to date. Insiders own about 18%, that's including my holdings. And all of those are subject to pooling agreements or escrows. So we've got releases over every 3 months, but we think that we've come right out of the gate with some starting our work program, and we can go into that in a bit. But I think it's very, very manageable.
Excellent.
It's a very tight share structure. Yeah.
Excellent. No, and that's where I was going with the question. I was going to mention that 59% of those shares are escrowed, correct?
Yeah, correct. And by the way, no warrants. The only warrants in the binders for the latest sub-receipt round, and then of course we've got some management options as well.
Excellent. Let's get right into the catalyst for 2021. You already commenced drilling at the Dorado property in northern Chile. Can you tell me a bit about the property and why you're so excited? You described the property as having the potential for multiple multi-million ounce gold deposits, right? And so obviously that sounds great. I would love to learn why.
Yeah, well, first of all, we've got 4 projects total. We have 2 in the Maricunga district of Chile. One, the Dorado, is our flagship project, and the other project we have there is called Cordillera. now in Dorado in particular, when I joined, we owned 100% of the core of a historic resource, around 500,000 ounces. Overall, though, not really well put together. There's a lot of holes that are outlying to the resource. So there's some low-hanging fruit there in terms of doing a little bit of infill to increase the resource size. Also, some of those holes, a lot of those holes, I should say, ended in mineralization. So our current drill program, we're doing 5,000 meters for a preliminary drill program of core, 10 holes of 500 meters. And that's going to be about double the depth of the historic drilling. And a lot of the historic drilling was RC, reverse circulation. We'll be doing core. Core, of course, tells you a lot more that we need to know around structure as well. So we'll know a lot more about the project. We're stepping out from the historic resource, and we're stepping out at depth as well. So I think that this is going to give us some very low-hanging fruit. Now, when I joined, as I said, we had the core of the Lajitas resource, and we realized an opportunity. We did some surface mapping, alteration mapping, and had some historic geophysics showing some very good targets outside of that core Lajitas resource, particularly on the Lajitas South area and in the far north of the property. So we've gone and staked about an additional 14,000 hectares, and we've already commenced surface work with our field team on some of those targets. So not only excited for drilling, very excited for the targeting work that we're doing now, that we'll be able to drill either towards the end of this drill season, which is, of course, is opposite to what we have here in North America, or at the very beginning of next drill season around late September, early October.
When you mentioned low-hanging fruit, I want to describe to the audience some of the historic drill intercepts. That includes 318 meters at 0.68 grams per ton gold and 261 meters at 0.91 grams per ton gold. Those are phenomenal numbers in the context of today's gold price environment, right?
Absolutely. And America, that's from surface too, and that's mostly in oxide as well. So, I mean, that in that context, it makes these intercepts really compelling. Not only in $1,800-$1,900 gold, which that makes for very profitable mining for sure. And the average grade of a lot of the Maricunga deposits, and these we're talking about some of the biggest gold deposits in the world, Cerro Castiche, which forms the Norte Abierto joint venture. Their average grade is right where that 0.5 to 0.7 grams per ton range. So we're doing well right now. We're looking like we've got a great project.
The project is 100% owned. How is the infrastructure?
Yeah, good. We had historically roads right to the resource area. Excuse me. We needed to do a bit of work last year, which is now done to rehabilitate some of those roads. So we got roads right to site. We've been able to truck the drill rigs right up to the drill pads. Highway goes. We're across the highway basically from Lobo Mate, which is a large Kinross project in the area, and so we got good access to infrastructure going forward.
Excellent. And the drilling here, the initial 5,000 meters, is meant to confirm the historic intercepts, which I read a couple of those off, but also to step out, as you mentioned, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So we'd like to use the historic drilling as much as we can. In the future when we do update the resource to understand what we have. So to do that, the first hole we'll be twinning one of those longer historic intercepts to confirm it. and we'll be pushing that hole deeper as well. So definitely excited for that.
You have a stated goal of targeting multi-million ounce gold resource growth in the next 18 months. Of course, you have the Dorado property in Chile, which is the flagship, as you mentioned, but you also have several other properties, that one in particular that should see drilling soon as well, right?
Yeah, so our other advanced exploration project is in the Battle Mountain Trend of Nevada. We've been spending, that's called Iron Butte. Historically, the resource is 600,000 ounces at around 0.65 grams per ton. I think 0.62 grams per ton. And, a very similar story to Dorado. Historic drilling, it's got a lot more drilling on Iron Butte, 32,000 meters of drilling. The work we need to do to confirm historic intercepts is probably, the QAQC is a little better. So we got to do a little less work on that. But again, we see some low-hanging fruit in terms of a little bit of infill to bring some of the historic drilling into the resource, expansion at depth, and targets along the range front of the Iron Butte project. So.
Excellent. And walk me through what exploration plans look like there, time-wise.
Yeah, so we've had our team do drill targeting to date. We'll be submitting permits for drilling that we would like to commence in March, and it's around a 60-day process for drilling under a notice of intent. It's all BLM land. We'll be drilling on that property mostly from historic drill pads. Come March, we'd like to do another 3,000 meters, 2,500 meters for a preliminary program, and of course expanding that based on initial results. Again, we got some great highlight holes on the project that we want to take a closer look at. We've got 30.5 meters at 1.8 grams per ton, 24 meters at 1.48 grams per ton from surface. So another surface oxide opportunity.
You're cashed up. You have a solid share structure. You're a news story, and we all know that news stories always get the most attention. I have to ask you about the team that you've been able to put together, because it's an impressive one. Can you give us a bit of background on the team here?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of the board, first of all, myself, Galen McNamara, who's CEO of Suma Silver, Brandon Bonifacio, a co-worker of mine at Goldcorp, and he continued with Newmont. He worked in the Maricunga and on the Norte Abierto JV. And Ronnie Zimmerman, who's a Canadian-Chilean lawyer, quite well known in the mining circles in Chile. So you can see why we're in Chile. And so good board from that perspective. We've got some great advisors in Doug Ramshaw, Craig Parry, and Michael Connert, each of whom offer different experiences so that we're able to make good decisions going forward. But then in terms of the team, especially during COVID, we've been able to build a really strong local team in Chile, which I think is of the utmost importance. Guillermo Peralta is our senior geologist in country. We have David Smith is our global VP of exploration. Guillermo's been able to hire quite a large team to do this current drill program, and we do look forward to having those guys and ladies staying on board with us over the longer term.
Adrian, I can see why you're in Chile. I can also see how you were able to acquire and put together such an impressive stable of assets. I think 2021 is going to be an exciting year for the company. I want to thank you for your time. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
If you really want to get more information on the company, go to our website. It's angoldresources.com. That's it for me. And thank you very much, Dorado, for having me on the show.
Adrian, thanks for coming on. I look forward to chatting again. I suspect we'll be doing a lot of that this year.
I hope so.
Take care. Stay safe. Thank you again.
Thank you.